Hi, my name is Khalik Tahir.
My name's Keenan Tan.
And my name is Brian Liu. We're doing a TED Talk on Chinese sweatshops.
Around the world, many human civil rights are violated. None other is as apparent as sweatshops in China. Sweatshops in China are both corrupt and abusive. Workers are paid below minimum wage, forced to work in horrific environments, and brutally punished. Thousands of people, including families, are being affected by these factories. According to PBS.org, the minimum wage is 48 US cents an hour in Chinese sweatshops. That is not even enough to buy a bottle of water in the US. In comparison, US citizens earn a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. That is about 15 times as much. Sweatshops workers have to work harder and longer hours than most people, yet they earn the least. In the modern world, money is needed for everything. It is needed to buy food, live under a roof, and wear clothing. Workers earn so little that buying the necessity to live is a challenge that must be faced daily. The issue is that some sweatshops pay late. They can be paid weeks or months late, causing their families to starve, which can even lead to early death. On top of being paid below average, workers are having to work overtime. They work from sun up to sundown. The worst part is that they don't get paid for working overtime. They are required to, if they don't, they get paid even less or be fired. The little money they earn could be even less if they don't work overtime. How long they need to work is based on the season or holiday. For example, if Christmas was few weeks away, workers might be needing to work for 12 hours a day or more, giving workers barely any time to eat and rest, having to work for 11 hours with only one break. That one break is a lunch break. The lunch breaks are typically 30 to 45 minutes long. During lunch, workers says that the rest is the most important thing above all. Normally, lunch breaks are used to talk to coworkers and eat lunch. With little to eat and being exhausted, talking isn't a priority. In one factory, pool tables and ping pong tables are given to workers during lunch break. Instead of using the pool tables and ping pong tables as entertainment, they use it like a bed. Photos taken from the inside show how workers lay across the tables resting. Now, I would like to welcome my colleague presenting on sweatshop conditions and workers' lifestyles.
If working long hours wasn't bad enough, working in terrible conditions is even worse. Nearly all factories, if not all, are lacking safety protection. In the US, safety is usually the top priority. Companies will need to ensure their safety if they don't want to have any lawsuits against them. If you are wondering, why don't Chinese sweatshop workers take any legal action against Chinese sweatshops, they neither have the right or power to oppose the sweatshop owners. They have to rely on themselves to keep from harm. Injuries aren't forgiven. One example of how these sweatshops can be proven harmful is from hard dedicated workers losing most of their fingers from working on heavy machinery. If a worker is incapable of working to their fullest, their paycheck is reduced and they get punished. Not only are workers not provided with basic safety equipment, they don't have any safety measures in place. Fire extinguishers are outdated, rails that are broken are never replaced, and workstations are never cleaned, causing the environment to be harmful towards them. These are just some of the many issues that are ignored by the owners of the Chinese sweatshops. Not having workstation cleans periodically means that chemical spills are left there to build up. This causes permanent damage to workers' health. Toxic air is constantly being inhaled inside the factories. During full working days, a sweatshop worker who were caught off task or caught trying to leave early from work were brutally punished. Most of these workers are kids, from at least the ages of 10 to 16-year-olds. Workers were told to take their shirts off, where they would be forcibly hit on their backs. Their punishments can also increase their hours of work and reduce their pay. This also includes workers who do not make enough clothing or toys at their work, causing the factory to not gain as much profit as they could. Most of the workers get tortured with inhaling harmful chemicals around them and also being disrespected for all their hard work. Sweatshop workers intend to work so much that most of the workers will lose at least some of their fingers and will still be required to work after that. For example, factory workers lose or break about 40,000 fingers on the job every year. According to a study published a few years ago by the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences. By now, you're wondering why the government hasn't done anything. The government doesn't care as long as the economy is increasing. In the past, China's economy wasn't growing as fast. To fix this, they allowed laws to allowing for sweatshops to come about. Unlike other countries, inspection and paperwork are fake. They pay inspectors to fake the paperwork, making the sweatshop look decent. Now my colleague is going to talk about why sweatshops are still happening and the past attempts to stop the sweatshops.
Manufacturers are drawn to factory in China because labor is cheap. As said before, they're able to pay way less for goods than if products were made elsewhere. Also, with little regulations from government, below standard requirements are possible. Another big reason is a massive population in China. More specifically, the large amount of people looking for jobs, meaning that finding workers wouldn't be an issue. Big brands like Nike, H&M, Disney, and Forever 21 benefit from sweatshops. They make huge profit from sweatshops with little to no consequences. It is estimated that 85% of goods exported to America from China are from sweatshops. Together, the cheap labor, little regulation from government, and the massive market for jobs make China sweatshops possible. Throughout China, there are many sweatshops that are still active today since the early 1900s. Throughout specific time periods, there have been many past attempts to stop sweatshops. All of the sweatshop workers would go on strikes and protest against the Chinese government. Workers would also go to other businesses and destroy their business to show their anger against them because they have better lifestyles than they do. The past attempts failed because of the Chinese government. Most sweatshops workers who protested in any shape or form would be exiled or lead to death. Chinese economy relies on sweatshops worker and how much they produce and export. All their productions reach every corner of the earth, slowly rising the economy. One example is when Apple, a multi-billion-dollar company, were caught having a sweatshop in China for making products for their phones. This was during 2006, and there were many attempts to protest against Apple to stop with cheap labor. This attempt also failed because of the different law and no extra evidence provided saying Apple having any sweatshops in China. For instance, in 2006, Apple faced allegation that its iPods were being produced in China under sweatshop conditions. Apple was quick to respond to these charges, launching its own investigation. After these past attempts failed, there were no other attempts that were offered to help Chinese sweatshop workers. I would like to reintroduce my colleague, Kalik, to conclude this TED Talk.
In conclusion, Chinese sweatshops are making millions from hard work that comes from its workers, while its workers are living off scraps and barely surviving. The Chinese government obligates sweatshops to pay a minimum wage. However, sweatshops do not follow the basic laws. Chinese sweatshop owners do not give their valuable, hard-working workers close to enough. They are underpaid, forced to work in dangerous environments, and brutally punished. Many attempts have been made in the past to stop sweatshops. However, most are unsuccessful. Workers aren't allowed to speak out, or they face a fine, imprisonment, or worse, even death. In the future, we hope that sweatshops would vanish, or the advancement in technology is so great there would be no need for workers in factories anymore. While every human has the same equal rights as the person next to them. Thank you.
Now this concludes our digital portion of our TED Talk.